I will say again, talking about the sexual revolution. There's so many ways I can start talking about this. Let's start off with black women. Black women hooking up with white men for a basis of what I'm about to talk about. Does that mean that black men aren't attractive anymore? Now, I do believe that in every race, every single race out there, I do believe that you're always curious as to men of other races and women, especially men looking at women. Men are always curious about women of other races. White men there's always been a certain number of white men that are attracted to the darkest thing walking. Imagine her walking naked. Okay. There's been white men that have, you know what I'm saying? There's been white men that have been always attracted to, and the women too, white women, Asian women, and everybody. One thing I will say, and I did a video, I forget which one of my two channels I did it on, but two channels that I talk about these kind of issues on. If I say the word black or Asian or whatever, if I go out, if I talk about race, there's only two channels I talk about that on. But we can tell here in America from the recent, a lot of black women leaving the white man. Leaving the black man. I'm sorry. Black women leaving the black man and only dating white men. And then they try to act like if they get on an elevator with, and I know I had a job not too long ago where I dealt with these flight women. And these flight women, they make good money. And, I was doing security, and the black women would always act like I was invisible. And I expected that. Because who are they coming in there with? You're one black woman out of what? A dozen white men and white women. One black woman out of a dozen white men and white women. And that's the way you live your life every day at work. And you were able to get this job knowing that a lot of black people are not going to be picked for this job. And you got this job, and some of these jobs are based on your education and all that kind of stuff. You have to be able to, you have to have certain credentials, even if you don't need them, they want you to have them, okay? And right now, there's jobs that I can't get. They're profiling, in my opinion, because they want me to have credentials that I don't need. I don't need these credentials, okay? This has nothing to do with the job, but they want me to have those credentials just to kind of profile people that work for them. But anyway, and we went from racial profiling to that. I still think it's a way of racially profiling people, because even if you're not calling it racial profiling, you're calling it something else, it's still going to be a racial profile, because you're going to hire more white people and more Asian people than you're going to hire black people. Just like when we go out here and we use, what's his name? Quindell likes to joke about this when he does, comedy. He'll say something on the lines of, black people and credit cards. He'll make a joke about that. He made several jokes about black folks and credit cards, A lot of profiling goes on in renting out homes and apartments right here in Pittsburgh, where I live. A lot of profiling goes on because what they do is they say, what's your credit score? Dude, I'm paying, dude, you're not going in I'm not going to pay you credit for my rent, right? So why are you worried about what my credit score is? But they want you to have good credit. And this is their way of controlling crime and controlling what kind of people are going in and out of their properties. What kind of people have keys to their properties. At one point, I understand, but when you're charging cheap money, when you're charging discounts on rent, you got all these homeless people out here, you got all this people in need out here, and you have the best bargain for rent, and you want to worry about the credit. If you were charging a lot of money for rent, more people would have good credit. You know what I'm saying? So you're not only winning, you're winning bigger, because not only are you getting more rent per apartment, but all your people, whether they be white, black, or Asian, or whatever, they don't mind paying that because they come from a lifestyle of having good credit and being able to get whatever they need through their credit and all like that. So you're still winning, and winning bigger. But they do it because they want to charge cheap rent, but they want to be in control of crime. And in a way, I can understand that. In another way, I think it's unfair. Now, getting to the subject. Black women hooking up with white men. Now, I can understand some black women are born into white families. I was at a neighbor's house one time, a lady friend of mine from my church, and she lived in this nice little neighborhood that was probably about 10-15 minutes away from mine. And I drive through there every day, and there are black people that live in that neighborhood. They're just all spaced out, But in that particular part of her neighborhood, she, So one day I was parked out in front of her house. And I just got off her porch, and I had to walk down the street a little bit to my car, and this black girl walking in between two white boys, black teenager. She saw me and freaked. And I could immediately tell that she was adopted. That she's never lived in a black neighborhood. She's never been around black people, that her parents, after adopting her and getting her away from black culture, black neighborhoods, black people, they sheltered her. They sent her to a either predominantly white school. Man, her school was white. Lowborough, yeah, her school was white. They were probably the only black people. Her and her sister were probably the only black people in that school. But they were adopted. She saw me and her brothers looked at her like, what's wrong? You know. And her brothers, you know, they were doing the right thing. You know, their daughter's out there walking. Their sister, I should say, is walking out there in the neighborhood. They're walking with her. They didn't let her go nowhere by herself. And they had just walked in from town, which you go into town, you're going to see more black people. But that's still like 1% of everybody that's out there. Okay? And she saw me and she freaked. And when I went back to my lady friend and I said, hey, a black girl down there acted like she ain't never seen a black man before. What's her problem? She's like, oh, that's so-and-so's daughter. Yeah, she's a sweet girl. Yeah. Sweet girl that freaked. And she, you know, when she saw me, and she said, well, she's adopted. And they don't get out much, you know. And I said, well, I kind of figured that, you know. What's my point? My point is that I can understand that coming from her. If all you've been around is white men, if a black girl, we're talking about love relationships. We're talking about relationships here among the races. Okay. If a black girl loved her, if a black girl is adopted, not adopted, but if a black girl's mom gets remarried while she's a baby, and her stepdad took good care of her and treated her like his little princess, she's going to grow up liking white men. She's going to have a strong attraction for white men because her dad was a good man. You wonder why some white women keep it in their race. Okay, it's always got to do with the dad. You wonder why some black women keep it in their race. It's always got to do with dad. If dad was a good man and dad treated her like gold, she's going to grow up attracted to whatever race her dad was. Okay? There are black women out there that only date Spanish dudes because they travel Mexico and they've been to Puerto Rico and they've been other places and they've had, you know, one of their parents was Spanish. Usually the dad. And he treated her like gold. And so, what did she go after when she was old enough? When she started going through puberty, what kind of boys did she go after? She went after the Spanish dudes. Now, if there was a shortage of Spanish dudes, she probably started looking at the black guys. A little bit darker, but that's okay. But if they know how to act. And she definitely probably started going after white guys. Now, I know I said in videos earlier this week, I talked about how black men don't get what white men are getting. They don't get to have their way with the whole smorgasbord of women. White men can travel around the world and bring a African woman home. They can bring a woman home from the Dominican Republic. They can bring a woman home from the Philippines, Thailand, China, Japan, you know, they can go out there, you know, on Monday and bring a woman home on Saturday. And the only thing that they have is height. They're tall. I can't really say, if I listen to women talk about what they find attractive about a man, I can't really say that he's all that attractive. Especially these white men that are going to the Philippines and hooking up with Filipino women. He's tall. He's really not all that attractive. I'm just going by what women say. Okay? He's tall. He's not really all that attractive. You look at women here in the States. If he's tall and he's getting any respect, he's also very handsome. Okay? You look at him and look at these white men that are going over to the Philippines. Okay? These so-called passport bros and all that kind of stuff. My hand's falling asleep. Okay? Now, one thing that has always bothered me, recently has always bothered me as I get older, is that a lot of Asian women, and I love Asian women. I think Asian women are, that's just my preference. I think Asian women are the prettiest out of all the women. I think I've never met an ugly Asian woman. I've never met an ugly Asian woman. Never met one. Even the ugliest one I've met, I was willing to date her. I was willing to take her out. Not because she was Asian alone, but because as an Asian woman, there's something about her. You know, she was too much like a black woman. She had a big nose. She had a big nose and big lips. But I still was attracted to her, and I hate women that smoke. I hate women that smoke. I don't like smoking around me. But the day that she asked me for a cigarette, I said, "Oh, sweetheart, I don't smoke." And I told her, I said, "Why's a pretty girl like you out here smoking? Why are you working at night?" You know, I was getting into her. Like, "Why are you working at night?" She said, "Oh, I live right here." And I said, "Oh, let me know where she lived. That's dangerous." You know. See, "I live right here. I not go far." You know. And you could tell she wasn't in this country for a long time. You know. But she was out here working. She was out here working. And she was all independent. And that's another thing. Like, some women like being independent. And if a woman becomes adjusted to being independent, when she decides that now, independent women make good girlfriends, but they don't make good wives. Independent women can make good girlfriends depending on what a man is looking for in a girlfriend. If a man wants a girlfriend where he doesn't have to spend that much money on her, where he doesn't have to, you know, be a certain kind of a man, you know, now you got yourself some chemistry there. Independent women make good girlfriends. They don't make good wives. Unless it's a case where a man wants his girlfriend to be submissive, and she doesn't owe you that, brother. She doesn't owe you that. You're not putting a ring on her finger, okay? She don't owe you squat. She don't owe you sex. She don't owe you dinner. She don't owe you washing no dishes, cleaning no toilets. She don't owe you nothing. It's either her place or yours. If you go to her place, she'll clean up after you. She go to your place, you cleaning up. She's a guest in your house, or you're a guest in her house. She don't owe you squat. Okay? But if you get married and you don't know what marriage is about, you don't know how women are supposed to conduct themselves to their husbands, you don't know how men are supposed to, all expenses paid by the husband. The husband is the king. The husband does it all. The husband does all. The husband does 100%. There's no 50-50 when you're married. There might be 50-50 when you play in that boyfriend-girlfriend garbage. And that's what I call it. Because it's nasty. It's wrong. Okay? But that's what you get. You get what you pay for. Okay? But some of the best sex and some of the best living arrangements come from independent women and independent men coming together. Okay, when an independent woman and an independent man come together, they have the best sex a lot of times and the best living arrangements. They get along like a couple. They get along really good because he's not expecting nothing from her that he can't do better himself. She's not expecting nothing from him that she can't do better herself. And so more indigenous women, however, and more indigenous men, you know, being more religious or more Christian or more spiritual about love, will expect, the woman will expect the man to be, will expect the man to take care of her. That makes her feel like a lady. See, independent women don't feel like ladies. They feel like somewhat of a different species. Because what makes a woman feel like a woman is when a man takes care of her. Now, the beautiful thing about the Philippines is that the women in the Philippines, you know, we're talking about, you know, there's a certain culture of women out there that have left Filipino men. And it ain't just the Philippines, it's Asia, period. Women are out there putting on skimpy clothes in China and Japan, dancing in the middle of the street, from middle school all the way to college and more. Okay? They're out there dancing in the middle of the streets. Okay? And all the men are coming around with cameras and all like that, making TikTok videos out of it and all like that. And you wonder, what kind of guys do these women date? Like, where they, you know, it makes you wonder. Now, I do know that actually these women don't, you're wondering, you and I are wondering what kind of guys these women date. They don't worry about that. They worry about they only worry about when they want to get laid. Women that are out there dancing and TikToking and things of that, and they're becoming stars, if they are not involved in prostitution of some sort, and when I say prostitution, I'm talking everything from OnlyFans to women who are meeting up with passport bros. I'm talking about OnlyFans girls all the way down to bar girls in the Philippines to women that are actually meeting up with these passport bros and these passport bros are hooking up with a Filipina the minute they get off the plane. Okay, that's what I mean by prostitution. These guys don't have to do anything to be with these girls. All they gotta do is show up and say hello. And it's like, you know, every woman that gives you a massage, or every woman that cuts your toenails or your pedicures, okay, the majority of them, every woman that's an escort will show you around the Philippines and things of that nature, will also sleep with you. And it doesn't matter whether you're black, whether you're white, whatever race you are, it's a service or extra service on top of the service you're already getting. And if you just pay for the basic service and don't sleep with her, she might actually get offended. And a lot of these women would rather you know, do something crazy with her that you're not going to get at home, and you pay her, you know, a minimal amount of money for doing it, than for her to get paid for the other things and she doesn't offer you sex, or you turn down sex with her. She actually gets offended. She'll actually get offended. That's prostitution, folks. The only thing that ain't prostitution is marriage. It's prostitution. Sorry. Prostitution. Now, I said this in another video, that if it wasn't for black men's reputation, if it wasn't for our reputation, if it wasn't for the fact that most people think that we're ghetto, I believe that white men would have trouble getting dates. I mean, I believe that wherever the money's at, that's where the women are going to go. And that's even in the church. There ain't no beautiful women hooking up with average men that ain't got no money in the church. As a Christian, especially today, as a Christian, you can't settle down with a beautiful girl if you make a minimum wage, or if you're making a little bit above minimum wage, or you know what I'm saying. Some women, if you making $3,000 a month, okay, to climb in a dumpster, they might say, okay, as long as you shower in that before you come home, you know. But most women, it ain't just the money, it's the kind of work you do. You gotta seem or appear to be educated. You gotta seem or appear to be a man of money, even if you ain't got all that kind of money. They want to tell their friends and their family, look what he does, you know. But men can go to a place like the Philippines. One thing I do admire about, let's say, an Asian woman over a white woman or a black woman here in the States. Now, that's more about being in the States, in the West, than it is about the woman herself. Because white men are going over to the Dominican Republic and having their way with black women, just like black men are going over to the Dominican Republic and getting sexual favors or whatever from the same girl. Okay? Me, with my little short behind, my little short, bald, 58-year-old behind, I can go to the Philippines. I can go to the Dominican Republic, and I can go to different places. And if I'm dumb enough to go out there on the red light district and not get beat up about men trampling all over me trying to get to these girls, I can go out there, I can get me a Foxy escort if I'm willing to pay the price. They might charge me more because I'm tiny and I don't look that good. We don't look good together. They might charge me more. They might expect more out of me. Okay? People like me and Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito still living? Did he get sick, real sick? Or did he die? And keeps going to sleep. I don't know how that works. Something went on with Danny DeVito. I don't know if he passed away or if he got real sick. I don't know. I'll have to look him up. But I think I'm taller than Danny DeVito. I think Danny DeVito is 4-something. I'm 5. Danny DeVito is 4-something tall. Okay. But anyway, there's a lot of men like him in the Philippines about his height. You never see them with a woman. And they got kids. They have kids. They got some woman, they got some Filipino girl pregnant. And they may go home. Some of them go home and they got a wife at home. You don't see him and his wife walking down the street holding hands. In most cases. You don't. But you will see it more so there than you will see here in the United States. You'll see an Asian couple, the husband's a little bit shorter than his wife, walking down the street with their kids or whatever. And usually they want the kids with them, so you understand that they are shackled. That's why she's with a man that's shorter than her, because they're shackled. Not because that's really what she's attracted to. I don't know. I feel bad. God didn't create us to be like this. God did not create us to be like this. He did not create us to treat other humans like ourselves like this. Okay? But in closing, if it wasn't for black men's reputation, I believe this with all my heart. If it wasn't for black men's reputation, if it wasn't for black men being, I don't care. I know, well, it ain't just black men, but I think a lot of Spanish dudes too, a lot of Arab guys. You know, Arab guys, they treat women in a way where a woman will be just like, okay, are you done talking? Okay, I'm leaving. Because Arab guys, when they talk to women, when they talk to anybody, it's like, shh, I'm talking, listen. No, dude, shut the F up, man. There's 2 people talking here. You want to talk to this lady. She's a woman. She's going to talk more than you. Oh, I just want to cuss. When I watch these Arab guys in action, it's like everything is shh, I'm talking. No, you're not talking, dude. You want to do all the talking, you can stand there and talk about your goddamn self. This is a problem I have with Arab men. Arab and Indian men, like, you know. Even on the phone, when these Indian guys call me. You know, bill collectors or whatever. He's talking while he's asking me a question. Can I answer your question? Get up with what I tell what well Mr. Cruz what the and I'm like, I can barely understand you. I don't think you understand yourself, sir. Shut up and let me answer your question. One question at a time. Then they get mad when you keep asking them to repeat themselves. Wait a minute, say that again. I said you know. Kills me. Then the Arab guys, they speak better English, but it's like, sir. I'm asking you a question, right? And I'm answering it. Shut up and listen. You know, God, I can see why women run from Arab men and Indian men that are Americans. Like Indian men, I think Indian men, I've seen them looking at white chicks and black chicks and all that kind of stuff. I've seen them checking them out. But Indian men, I'm not talking about Arab men. Arab men can be very, 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 I think Arab men that have been here a while, they've been independent, they get away from Islam, they get away from the Arab population and start living among white people and black people and all like that. They tend to cut that crap out and start to mellow down a little bit. And they become very, very, very handsome when they do that. To the women. Not to me, to the women. And the women are like, you know. There's an Arab guy I'll pop with, you know. I'll bang with. That's the way they look at them, you know. Arab guys, I think Arab guys, I think black men have competition with Arab guys. I don't think they have. I think black men, the real competition, if things weren't the way they are, black men would have competition with Arab dudes and Italian dudes. Okay? And a certain population of Spanish dudes. You know, because they tend to be very, very, to a lady's, from what I understand, if I know anything about handsome men, they tend to be very handsome. Depending on, you know, dress, height, and toys and money. Okay, they tend to be very handsome. They tend to be very stunning to a lot of women. But nobody but a white man can just go all over the world in every country and do what he wants to do with women. Nobody but a white man. Now, yesterday or a couple days ago, I said the black man, but actually I said the white man versus the black man, but it's actually the white man versus everybody. No man, not an Arab man, not an Indian man. Indian guys, I ain't never seen an Indian guy date a black girl, a white girl, an Asian girl, or nothing. You don't see no Indian guys going to the Philippines. If they go to the Philippines, they bring their own wife with them. I ain't seen an Indian guy date nobody outside his race. I ain't trying to say they the ugliest men I've ever seen. But man, these guys walking around in sandals with unironed slacks on. They look like they from somewhere in between South Africa and India. You know. And them voices. How you doing today? Yeah, I keep clickety click. Clickety clackety click the click the clackety clickety click 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 click. You know. guys, man. Somebody might be looking at my little tiny bald headed short 5'3" behind and saying, that's a funny dude, man. Like, every time I see him, like, what kind of woman in her right mind? Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, I shouldn't be laughing at anybody. Except Indian men. Like, God. Okay? But anyway, I just see these guys and I'm like, oh, here we go. Oh, my God. Oh. They get on the bus. What? Dude, where are your shoes? It's cold out here. Like, God. What? When I look at Indian guys, okay, this is the last of the jokes. I look at Indian guys, I'm thinking, you look like the ugliest black dude I've ever seen in my life. They're so dark. They are dark. They're darker than most black people. And when I see them, I'm thinking, you got to be the ugliest black dude I've ever seen in my life. You got to be the ugliest African dude I've seen in my life. Man. But then the women, it's like, she's dark. She's darker than most black women. God darn, she's fine. And not only that, sorry black woman, she got hair on her head. And that ain't wool. She got hair like a white woman on her head. That's her natural hair. You got this woman that's darker than most black women. Darker than Africa. And she got hair coming down her back. She know how to dress. She got a nice dress. The sandals look cute on her. They just look ugly on him. But the sandals make you want to kiss her feet. Her nails are done. You know, the Indian dude, he get on there wearing them sandals. He need to go to the Philippines and get his pedicures done. I mean, his nails look gross. You know. Let me get off of that. Closing out this video. If it wasn't for our reputation as black men, because people think that we are ghetto, and they think we are always broke, they think that we're violent, and they think that you can dress us up, but you can't take us out. And that's a fact. You know, when I watch these videos of these, you know, because everybody's pouring into the Philippines and getting them some, if you know what I mean. Getting them some that they ain't getting here, okay? And I'm not one to worship sex, so I'm just saying what you're doing. I'm not envying them. If I want a woman to just give me sex and move in with me and spend my money and lie to me and claiming she's traditional and submissive. Oh, you're traditional and submissive while you're at home with me. But then you want to go out without me and do TikTok. Let other guys hit on you. Let other guys interview and put you on their DMs. Okay? And then the minute I say no to one thing, you're going to cheat on me. I can't say no about anything. If I say no about spending money here or spending money there, if I say no about where I want to go, or if I ask you too many questions about where are you going dressed like that, it's over. Passport bros, it's over. It's over. And a lot of men are going to the Philippines and saying, passport bros. Yeah, I'm a passport bro. So you went out there and got your feelings hurt. Yeah, she was submissive and traditional while she was home with you. But the minute she walked out that house, you caught her on the street acting like the typical black bee. The young, typical black bee. Putting all her, just degrading herself. Passing herself around. the whole thing of once you go black, you never go back, that's starting to change. Partly it's still true, because the reason why a woman will say once you go black you'll never go back, that's for women that are fornicators. That's not for married women. Women who are out there looking and seeking to fall in love and get married, if a black man don't work out with them, they will go to a white man. If that don't work out, they'll go back home and marry an Asian man. Okay? That only works for fornicators. If your woman is out there just banging, okay, yeah. If a woman's out there just getting her cheeks clapped, she'd rather a black man clap her cheeks perfectly. Okay? And a lot of that has to do with her thinking that every black man has a giant anaconda. And that's not true. You might be able to say that about Africans. You can't say that about black men. And if we are related to the Africans, we lost our anacondas during slavery somewhere when we started mixing, with other races. We lost our anacondas. Okay? Even in the Philippines, some of these Filipino women, they are under this impression that all black men have these oversized anacondas that you can't fit them anywhere. They're actually afraid of large packages. They're actually afraid of large pipage. They are. They think that to them that's right. If a man is more than, 10 by 5, okay, 5 by 10, however that goes, to her, that's rape. That's not sex. If a man gotta put it in slowly, that's rape. That's not love. That's not a relationship. There's a lot of Asian women that are afraid, okay, of this. Whereas white women can't wait to get their hands on it. Just for once in their life, they just want to get their hands around it, But I think a lot of Asian women lie too, to see if all the black men will get in line if they say that they're afraid of it. They know that a lot of black men will line up. Hey, baby, I'll make it so you're not so afraid, baby. They know that if they lie and say that they're afraid of it, they know that black men will line up. Okay, they know black men will line up. And you got Asian women getting on these Filipino videos and saying, hey, talking about sex. And it's like, sex is between you and your husband. You don't want to get on video and tell men. They want men to watch their videos because they're single. But you don't get on there and talk about sex. You know what I'm saying? Like, sex is going to change when you hook up with the next person. And sex is going to be whatever it is with that person. It's not going to be about what you said when you was on TikTok or what you said when you was on YouTube about, oh, I'm afraid of this and I'm afraid of that, and I've always been curious about anal sex and I've been curious about this, and how many kids you got? By how many different men? What a woman should be curious about is other positions. That's it. And I think that if she's never been practiced if no one's ever practiced fellatio on her, I think she should call Donald Trump. Okay? Or Michael Douglas or something. Okay? She need to call somebody. It's say, Mr. President, we need to run some tariffs. We need the DEI back or something. We need something. But no man's ever went down on me. You know. You know this video is already discretion advised, but in closing, I'm not mad. I was mad, but I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm not mad that white men are. First of all, I'm not mad that black women are leaving black men and hooking up with white men, because what they've been through, they should. Did I say that right? Leaving black men hooking up with white men, because after what they've been through, they should. Yes. And I can understand why Asian women go after, but you know what I'm finding out? It's really not about the black man himself. It's about all the black men that make us look bad. It's about the wife beaters, the child beaters, the violent Black Lives Matter, I hate white people, I'm gonna go to Japan. That girl went to Japan and tried to she tried to march, she tried to stand up for Black Lives Matter in Japan. You do realize these ain't white people, right? Like, there ain't no white cops out here. What? She took Black Lives Matter to Japan. That was over quickly. Ain't nobody said BLM in Japan since then. Let me shut up. Anyway, next subject. Okay. They squashed that real fast. Thank God. It's just idiotic. Everything ain't about racism. And everybody ain't gotta like you. People have a preference. Everybody ain't gotta like a black man, a black woman. People have a preference. I got a preference. I don't like people that look like me. Not all of y'all, some of y'all, but not all y'all. Because you ghetto. You ghetto. You think you're supposed to sleep with a woman and it don't cost you nothing. You think you're supposed to sleep with a woman and don't pay the bills. You think you're supposed to, walk in there with your pipe and everything. And I've heard black men talk like this. Hey, D-Rod, I bet I get more pussy than you. And I bet you I make more money than you and get more women than you, because a woman wants a man that's going to work and pay the bills. You dumb. Oh. But I've had men tell me that. Hey, D-Rod, but because, I'm short. And they know a lot of women ain't going to pick me. But, yeah, they're probably not going to pick me. But I can't honestly say, brother, they're picking you unless they are very, very naive. Unless they are very, very ghetto. Why would they pick you? You're lazy. He got fired the next day after he said that to me. Not because anything to do with that. He's just a lazy bastard. He got fired. They wasn't keeping him. Oh, dude, I bet you I get more pussy than you because I'm telling him, brother, you gonna help me out with this cart or what? Man, I bet you I get more pussy than you. I can do what I want to do. Blah, 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 blah. And then you wonder why Asian women say, in the Philippines, black guys are coming? A lot of black guys getting off the plane. It must be my weight. I better lose weight. But really, though, these Asian women are, it's not really about the white man as much as it is about the man. But the thing is, we live in a day and time where you can hate white people all you want to. And here's my closing statement. We live in a day and time where you can hate white people all you want to, and you can think white people are not attractive or white men aren't attractive. You can think white men look like, pale, marshmallow, snowflake, whatever balls, okay, that ain't got no meat in them, okay, whatever. Ain't screwing nothing, okay? But, I've watched enough porn to know. And I've asked the questions behind the porn industry. When I look at porn, I ask serious questions to myself. What's going on behind the scenes here? That they can get these women to perform like this? What's going on behind the scenes? Who's making these women? Who's paying these women? So you can say whatever you want to say about white men and white people. But the fact of the matter is, okay, white men are paying the bills. White men are wherever they tread their feet. They know how to take over. They know without violence. White folks didn't take over Waikiki, Hawaii. The name of the place is Hawaii. Why are all the white people in Waikiki? Why do they have white diamond neighborhoods in Waikiki? Not a single brown-skinned person around unless he's serving. He's either serving food, taking out the trash, driving an ambulance, driving an Uber, or something. One thing he ain't doing is living there. He can't afford it. If it wasn't for these white men going over to the Philippines and retiring there, the Philippines would go back to being a third world nation. There's a lot of American money into the Philippines, including Donald Trump's money and Elon Musk's money. They don't go over there and mess with the girls, but they invest a lot of money into it. White people love the Philippines. I love the Philippines. I ain't never been there. But, again, if it wasn't for our reputation as black men, where would all these white men be? If it wasn't for our reputation and if it wasn't for our lack thereof, everything, being romantic and knowing how to spend money and knowing how to counsel money, knowing how to control money, if it wasn't for those two things, our reputation and our prosperity bracket, would white men even get a chance? Would Arab men, Spanish men, Italian men, would they even stand a chance with us and any woman of any race? Back in the day, the black men that were kings, they had women there from all races. Not today. Not today. You in Africa, you may have never slept with anybody but a black woman or an African woman. Okay? You in, the Dominican, the women will sleep with a lot of men, but your black butt, your brown tan behind ain't slept with nobody but one of them. And all of them leaving you for the white man. And sometimes the black man if he's loaded with money. That's it, folks. That's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for stopping by. As you can see, I was laying here in the bed and I had I had two YouTube things going on at one time. And because this is right here laying on my bed, I decided to go on and hit the record button. Let me know what you think about this video. Like, share, leave a comment. Talk to me about these issues. God bless you.